Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we get into today's explosive topic, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and share this video with your friends because what we're about to discuss touches on some of the most pressing issues facing South Africa right now. We're talking about President Cyril Ramaphosa taking a firm stand against critics of employment equity while also calling on men across the nation to rise up and join the fight against gender-based violence, GBV. This is a powerful moment, and it deserves our full attention. South Africa is a country grappling with many challenges, from economic struggles to deep social wounds. Among these, two issues have dominated national conversations: the need for true transformation in the workplace through employment equity, and the heartbreaking scourge of gender-based violence that continues to devastate families and communities. Ramaphosa's recent remarks bring these two critical topics to the forefront in a way that is both bold and necessary. Let's start with employment equity. This is a policy aimed at addressing historical injustices by ensuring fair representation of previously disadvantaged groups, especially Black South Africans, in the workforce. The goal is to create a more inclusive economy where everyone has equal opportunities regardless of their background. However, this policy has been under attack by critics who argue that it is unfair or that it lowers standards. Some even claim it is a form of reverse discrimination. President Ramaphosa, however, did not mince words. He made it clear that employment equity is not just about numbers or quotas, it is about justice, fairness, and correcting centuries of systemic inequality. He emphasized that South Africa's history of apartheid left deep scars, and the economic landscape was rigged to favor a minority. Employment equity is a critical tool to level the playing field and ensure that the economy reflects the diversity and talents of the entire population. Ramaphosa's strong defense of employment equity is important because it highlights a broader struggle over the soul of South Africa's future. Do we settle for the status quo that benefits a few, or do we push forward with transformative policies that can unlock the country's potential and lift millions out of poverty? His message is clear: anyone who criticizes employment equity must understand the broader context and the urgent need for structural change. But this was not the only powerful message Ramaphosa delivered. He also addressed a matter that affects every South African: gender-based violence. South Africa has one of the highest rates of GBV in the world, and this crisis continues to claim lives, destroy families, and tear apart communities. It is a problem deeply rooted in societal attitudes, gender inequalities, and often, silence and complacency. In his call to action, Ramaphosa challenged men to take responsibility and become active agents of change. He said it's time for men to rise up and fight against GBV, breaking the cycle of violence that has become all too common. This call is significant because it acknowledges that GBV is not just a women's issue, it's a societal problem that requires everyone's involvement, especially men. The president's words serve as a wake-up call to men across the nation to reflect on their roles and the impact they can have in creating a safer society. It's a reminder that silence or inaction in the face of violence is complicity. By encouraging men to stand against GBV, Ramaphosa is urging a cultural shift, one where respect, dignity, and equality become the norm, not the exception. This dual message, defending employment equity and urging men to combat GBV, paints a picture of the kind of leadership South Africa needs right now: bold, unapologetic, and focused on justice. Ramaphosa's stance challenges old narratives and calls for collective responsibility. It's about building a country where everyone can thrive economically and live free from fear and violence. However, these messages have not been without controversy. Critics of employment equity continue to voice their opposition, and some question whether the government's actions are enough to curb the epidemic of GBV. The debate is intense and sometimes heated, reflecting the complexity of the issues at hand. But one thing is certain: leadership that avoids difficult conversations or shrinks away from these challenges will not bring about the change South Africa desperately needs. Ramaphosa's approach signals a willingness to confront tough issues head-on, even if it means facing pushback from various quarters. For the ordinary South African watching this unfold, these developments are both hopeful and daunting. Hopeful because there is a recognition at the highest level of government that the status quo is unacceptable, and that bold actions are necessary. Daunting because the road to true equality and safety is long and filled with obstacles. The fight for employment equity means dismantling entrenched economic power structures and opening doors that were once firmly closed. It means creating workplaces where talent and potential are nurtured regardless of race or background. It requires policies backed by political will and societal support. Similarly, ending gender-based violence means confronting cultural norms, educating communities, and enforcing laws with seriousness and urgency. It demands that men reject toxic masculinity and become champions of change. It requires resources, commitment, and continuous engagement at every level of society. President Ramaphosa's call for men to rise up in the fight against GBV is particularly crucial because men hold a unique position in this struggle. They must be allies and leaders in transforming attitudes and behaviors that perpetuate violence. The challenge is not just to condemn GBV but to actively dismantle the systems and mindsets that allow it to thrive. This moment also opens the door for conversations about how leadership itself must evolve in South Africa. Leadership today can no longer be about maintaining power or appeasing certain groups. It must be visionary and inclusive, focused on justice and human dignity. Leaders must be willing to engage with uncomfortable truths and inspire action that benefits all South Africans. As citizens, the responsibility is also ours. We must demand accountability, support policies that promote equality, and participate in efforts to end violence. This is not just a political issue but a moral one that touches every part of society. In closing, Ramaphosa's recent statements are a powerful reminder of the challenges facing South Africa but also of the possibilities for change. Employment equity and the fight against gender-based violence are two sides of the same coin, both require courage, commitment, and collective effort. If we want to build a South Africa that is fair, prosperous, and safe, then these conversations must continue beyond the headlines and political speeches. They must become the foundation of how we live, work, and relate to one another. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to keep the discussion alive. Let's hold our leaders accountable and rise up as a nation united against injustice and violence. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged.